Hey, this is Matthew, and I'm doing another video. This video, I'm going to be doing a game I had against a very experienced player. My player was rated at a FIDE rating of 1917, which is pretty high up there for me, and my FIDE rating is 1434. I'm not sure if that's good. I think it's pretty bad because Grandmaster is 2400 or above. So I'm steadily working my way up. As you can see from my other videos, I do include this little portion right here just to show you guys where I'm at. And let's jump right into it. Um, when I'm playing against a very experienced player, I notice that if I want to do very well, I have to get the player to the end game with a equal or not better position. And I realize it it's sort of a good concept. If you're playing a much better player than you, then you want to simplify the problem as easily and without um, jeopardizing your king safety or your pawn structure. But I sort of fall away from that in this game. So let's jump right into it. Uh, I start with a queen pawn opening, and I don't do this very often. I go for the king pawn opening just because it provides a more action-paced game, and I really wanted this to be a solid game by me. So I played the queen pawn opening, hoping for a easier game, and I really wanted to avoid the Sicilian because I don't play the Sicilian very well when I'm as white. So my opponent responded, and I played the queen's gambit. He declined. I developed my knight, and he played a move that I've never seen before. But since I don't play the Queen's Gambit much, don't. I'm not sure if you're watching this video and you've ever seen it, but I've never seen that move, and so I just decided to capture. And now he has a dangling pawn on the F file, and this one's sort of dangling too. Although he does have both pawns potentially protecting, and so I just developed my knight. He protects this pawn because he realizes that it can be it can be a weakness for him. And then I develop my bishop, getting a good diagonal, and he offers up a bishop trade, which I find that it works pretty good for me because I'm I'm making him lose tempo by moving his queen out too soon. That's what I was hoping for at least. And then I move my pawn up, preparing to move my bishop. And as you can see, my bishop doesn't have the best of diagonal right here. Uh, Even if I move it to right here, it's still very limited to this diagonal. And right here, it's even limited more just because my knight blocks it. So he develops his knight. I develop my bishop, and I can see how things can go very badly if I play wrong, and he protects his pawn. That's what his next move was. So I castled. He develops his knight, and I see he could possibly not have done this and had a perfectly fine game. He didn't really want to go to here, the A7 or A6 square, because my bishop would foul up his pawn structure. So I developed my queen, and I'm not. I doubt this is a very good move because it just doesn't do a lot. Like it adds a diagonal strong. It's not really strong because his pawn's right here, but it sort of is blocked here, and there's no really good use for it. So I was just trying to get my rooks together. That's what I was thinking. And then he moved his knight to e4, and I see a couple of things. I can't just take this knight right away because then he could just capture this pawn, and I would have a fork between my bishop and knight, and that would not be good. So I don't capture. I move my knight back just because I want this knight off of this position so that he doesn't have a attacking game. He has a equal game. So he castles, and I capture with this knight because this knight is doing. a lot because after he recaptures with this pawn right here, then it's providing another defender for my next move. Actually, you know what? I'm still thinking of this, but I decided to move my bishop back because it was in danger. So I move it back, and then he moves his knight, and then I move my pawn up, and that's what I was preparing for when I moved this knight back earlier. So I really wanted to break up his pawn structure, and at the same time, I wanted to exchange pieces because it is not good to. It is good to have a equal or um, equal or advantage in the end game when you're playing a very experienced player. And I really wanted to trust more in my end game skills than my middle game, just because usually a better player can see further into the game. So that's what I was planning. And so he captured, not wanting to allow me to capture and break up his pawn structure. Um, so I recapture with my knight, getting it onto a better square, because as you can see from this square right here, he can't go to this square, he can't go to this square, and this square is not very good. So that's what I had in mind. He developed his bishop, attacking my queen. I blocked with my bishop because my bishop wasn't doing anything and I wanted to exchange pieces. And he captured. I captured. And he moved his knight. And this knight is very good post. I can see why he wanted to do that. But it just offered more exchange of pieces after I moved my knight to e5. Because now he is either faced with um, moving his rook and me having the f file or capturing. And after I capture, then I still have an open file. And if he moves his rook back over, then I can still take. And it's even better for me because it simplifies the position even more. So that's what happened. He took my rook and I recaptured. He moved over, I captured. He moved his king, and from this position, there are a couple things going for me. I have knight very well placed. Um, it can offer a check right here at any moment. His knight is very well placed, but as you can see, his pawn structure is intact, much better than mine, because I have two pawns right here, two pawns right here, and two pawns right here. And he has four pawns on one side and two pawns on the other. But my pawns are centralized, and overall, I think this is a better position for white at this moment, just because of the next move, and this is what I play to, and it eventually wins the game, just because I played my queen to f1 check. Yeah, if we go back to this position also, my king has a little bit more king safety than his king. He's not close to these pawns, and these pawns are pretty far away. So yeah, that was a good move. Check. And let's just go further with the game, and then I'll go over a variation that I thought of. He played his queen, and this was a blunder, because then I just played knight to d7 check, and it forked the king and the queen, and there was nothing really he can do about it. And he resigned. So I just wanted to go over variation. Obviously, if you're playing a much higher grandmaster or somebody, you're probably not going to be taking lessons from me. But if you are, um, then I think the best move for black is to play his knight and block with his knight, just because it's a little more stable. Um, I can still go for the trade by checking here. Actually, he captures. I capture check. Yeah, he doesn't really want to offer me a pawn, so he probably would just either move to this square right here, or he would block with his queen. And even if he blocked with his queen, it'd be perfectly fine. Um, well, it wouldn't be perfectly fine. I'd probably have a disadvantage in the end game. But that's not what he played.